Hello, my name is David Estabrook, and today I'm going to talk about Target's decision to enter the Canadian market in 2011 and the recent announcement in November of 2014 that they are leaving the Canadian market just 2 years later and short billions of dollars. In 2011, Target announced it was entering the Canadian market, bringing stores, jobs, a sense of community, and low-priced goods to Canadians everywhere. They were impressed by the growth of key competitors Walmart and Costco, among others, and wanted to have the same type of success, so they planned out a strategy and entered the market. Canadians across the country, when hearing the announcement, were eager for Target to be available in their country. Target has a great brand and reputation for lots of competitive prices and lots of goods. They're also easily reachable and have a solid reputation in the United States. In less than 2 years, Target announced they were pulling out of Canada, sitting on a $2.1 billion loss. 133 stores were to be closed all across the country, and 17,000 jobs would be lost. And people wanted to know why. What did Target do wrong? What happened? To start with, differences in suppliers meant that Canadians found Target's Canadian stores to be more expensive than they anticipated. For example, milk was more expensive at a Target store than a smaller local chain. In addition to the suppliers, a poorly executed distribution network meant that shelves were often missing basic products that consumers were looking for. Target management also failed to understand the depths of Canadian loyalty to certain competitors, including well-established Walmart and Costco stores. They also failed to understand the local market and the reluctance of Canadians to adopt a one-stop shopping habit. Canadians are used to moving between stores to find the best products and the best prices. Target also failed to distinguish itself from several Canadian retailers with offerings that cross over some key product categories. For example, the Loblaw Companies, Canadians' largest grocer, successfully introduced its line of Joe Fresh, low-cost clothing boutiques in many of its stores. And, to make matters worse, Target was the subject of a security breach, being hacked and compromised in late 2013. This didn't allow executive management to focus on the issues in Canada, but it made them divert their attention to the issues of the security breach and the impact it had to both the company and to their consumers. In addition, it rattled consumer confidence in both the Target brand here in the US and abroad in Canada. After all the dust had settled, 110 million customers were affected, 40 million credit cards were lost, 70 million data points, and overall information around email address and other private information was captured. David Soberman, a marketing professor at the University of Toronto, noted that business usually needs to operate at full strength for more than a year to find success in new markets. But he faulted Target for using internal management with no international experience to run the company's first foray outside of the United States. This resulted in basic problems that should have been solved. Moving into Canadian market is not impossible. Target's amazing stumbles in sharp contrast to Walmart's experience in Canada. Walmart used a different strategy for entry. When Walmart entered the Canadian market in 1994, they took over leases of another struggling discount chain, the Woolco unit of Woolworth. It is now the largest retailer in Canada based on revenues. But not just Walmart has been successful. There have been many other successful stores and brands to enter Canada. H&M, Zara, Forever 21 are all expanding their Canadian operations. All these retailers have established local strategies to enter the market. A good current example of retailer entering the market is Nordstrom. Nordstrom, moving at a much slower pace and strategy than Target, opened its first Canadian store in Calgary last year and will add 2 more stores this year and 3 the year after. They are, unlike Target, seeking to differentiate themselves midway between Hudson Bay and Holt, existing Canadian retailers, by offering an array of both high-end and mid-priced items. As news of the pending Target store closures reached consumers, there was a mix of emotion by the Canadian consumer. Most felt that the Target they were given was not the same as in the U.S. They experienced the U.S. Target stores, and when they went to a Canadian Target store, the differences were paramount. Differences in product and price and availability. It was just too much. In the end, Target moved too quickly. They didn't set up the appropriate supplier and distribution chains. They didn't understand the local market and behaviors of the Target consumer, and they didn't keep the Target experience the same. Consumers expected Target in the U.S. to be the same as Target in Canada, and they got something different. Target needed to establish a proper go-to-market strategy, and they did not.